Now is Florida Congressman Mike Waltz. Congressman, great to see you, first of all. And it was wonderful to see you at that memorial. I guess you were there with your wife and other congressmen, and such a moving event. But again, it was made apparent right away that the President of the United States, the man responsible for the withdrawal and the methods of the withdrawal that led to the 13 deaths of U.S. servicemen and women, was not going to be there, and a former president was there in his place. You were obviously very moved by the event. That must have really ticked you off that the President of the United States wasn't there.
Well, frankly, it wasn't unexpected that Biden nor Harris were there. They didn't even say the word Afghanistan the entire DNC convention, much less mention these 13 soldiers and Marines that we lost. What ticked me off the most, David, was that it was so unnecessary. You know, I lost Green Berets in combat. That sadly and tragically happens in war, but this was pure incompetence and idiocy. But President Trump was there. This was not just some drive-by photo op. He's developed a real relationship with these families. They know, every veteran knows, I think the American people knows this would have never happened under his watch.
And I don't think they're going to be able to erase it. The memory of those 13 troops who died needlessly, as you suggest, because it was so poorly handled. That's not going to be forgotten. Not going to be forgotten by us. Certainly not going to be forgotten by Donald Trump, nor are the people responsible for that. Donald Trump spoke to that yesterday while he was in Detroit after the ceremony in the morning. I just want to play that and get your reaction. Roll it.
When I take office, we'll ask for the resignations of every single official. We'll get the resignations of every single senior official who touched the Afghanistan calamity to be on my desk at noon on Inauguration Day. Nobody got fired. Nobody ever gets fired in this administration. It's amazing. All the bad things that have happened, nobody ever gets fired.
Now, I was very happy to hear that. As the father of a Marine, it really hit hard. And my son was based in Afghanistan for a year, so he knew what was going on there. But on the other hand, I just think Donald Trump just sent out word to the deep state that he's coming after them. Do you think that they are now in the process of coming after him before he's elected?
Well, I mean, David, they've been in the process of coming after him since 2016, but you know, the room was full of National Guards men and women, soldiers from all over the country at their annual convention. And that statement on accountability was a huge, huge applause line in that speech. They know their leaders messed up. They know it shouldn't have been done that way. You never pull your military assets out before your civilians and your allies. Right. So huge applause line there, but also importantly, he promised the families full transparency. All the videos, all the drone footage, all the emails. He promised them closure and answers to their questions that they have not gotten under Harris and Biden. But
Congressman, you know he's always had support of the troops, whether those troops were in the military, the police force, whatever aspect of law enforcement. They have great respect for President Trump. On the other hand, it's that small cabal at the top, the deep state that controls so much of what goes on, whether it's the FBI or the Pentagon or wherever. I'm just wondering, when you think of what they did in 2016, even after he was elected, throughout his first term as president, and then leading up to the 2020 election, I wonder what they've got in store for us now.
Well, look, I think as we get closer to the election and President Trump's ahead, it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of these bureaucrats start digging in. And President Trump, I'm confident, will put people in place in leadership positions that are leaders and that will drive accountability and that will clean house. Yeah. I mean, you have a Pentagon right now that has a recruiting crisis, a readiness crisis, a shipbuilding crisis. Heck, the Navy just announced 17 ships sideline. Right. They can't man the ships because they don't have enough crews, they don't have enough people. So we need some real reformers in place, not people just worried about being liked or keeping the lights on.
And meanwhile, our enemies are not sleeping overseas. Iran just wants to start up a new nuclear treaty negotiation. We saw, of course, how lousy the last one turned out. China is now, we just heard they're setting up plants here, battery plants, and they just were involved in a big effort to interfere with our internet systems, to get information, including information on our ports, et cetera, and infrastructure. I just wonder, will we ever find out how compromised this administration has been by China, with all the relationships between the Biden family and Anthony Blinken himself and the Chinese government?
Well, that's why we just have to win in November. I don't know that we'll ever find out the full extent of it, to be honest with you, but we're certainly going to expose it wherever we see it. But this cyber attack is very serious. We are under a tsunami of cyber attacks from both Iran and China. And what's the administration doing about it? Squat. Yeah. And it's gone beyond just collecting data or IP and intelligence. The Chinese, under the program Volt Typhoon, are putting the equivalent of cyber time bombs in our critical infrastructure. We have to go on offense, demonstrate strength, and start imposing consequences. You can't expect every company, every port, every pipeline to just play perfect defense against a state actor like Chinese intelligence. We've got to completely shift and change the game here.
Very quickly, finally, we've got Tulsi Gabbard coming up in this hour, and I'm just wondering what you think of her joining the transition team and her similarities with Trump and their worldview. What do you make of that?
Well, I worked with Tulsi when she was in Congress. We were both on the Armed Services Committee. She's a veteran, a lieutenant colonel, and a battalion commander in the reserves right now. Yep. She understands the needs, what's going on inside our military. She also understands the Congress, and I think is going to be a very measured and strong surrogate and advocate for President Trump's America First agenda. I'm thrilled with her endorsement and to have her on the team.
Michael Waltz, great to see you, Congressman. Thank you for being here, and best wishes to your family as well. I know you got a growing family. You must be very proud of them. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, and go Army. All right.
All right, Semper Fi. Back at you.